Okay, we're going to start today Tzaddik Amud Beis. That's 95b. We'll start from Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, which is 4 lines up from as the lines get wider. The line starts David. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Okay. Thank Hashem that they're able to learn Torah every day. Especially our learning, we should have the Beis Hamikdash immediately. Learning for Shleima, for Naftali ben Bela, and for the safety of Eretz Yisrael, and for the return of the hostages in this festival learning. Okay. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says the name of Rav. Ba Aleim Sancherav Harasha Ba'arbaim V'Chamisha Ela. Ish. The name Malachim. Yeshim B'Kranesh Shel Zav. Rav Yehuda says the name of Rav that Sancherav was coming to Yerushalayim. Remember, that's what we've been talking about the last 2 pages. Sancherav is coming against King Chizkiah, and he has with him, we said it's 185,000 soldiers, right? Now it says that he has with him 45,000 men, sons of king, which means princes, that are sitting in wagons, golden wagons. And with them are women and prostitutes. How do they translate shigloinus? No, okay, that's the Zainus. Princesses. And harlots. Yeah, okay, so that's 45,000. And then there's 80,000 strong men that are garbed in armor, which is made out of what's it called when it's one piece goes on scales. Each one covers over the back of the other one. Scaled armor. And then there's 60,000 that are running in front of them, carrying swords. Bashar Prashim, and the rest are horsemen. So you have 60 plus 80, 140, plus 45, 185. Altogether, it adds up to 185,000. What about the horsemen? Didn't come into that calculation. The Chaim Baal Avram, that's the same amount of soldiers of men that were fighting against Avram. The Chaim Asidim Lavim Gog and Magog, the same will be with the battle with Gog and Magog. Gog and Magog is at the end of times there'll be a nation Magog, right? And the king's name is Gog, and he'll fight against Yerushalayim, and that's how many soldiers they're going to have. Masli Satana, yeah, that's what it says. Nothing different, right?
This is the same thing they were took the women to try to make it seem like it was going to be an easy fight.
Right. Yeah, Israel's pointing out that what were these women doing there? Is they thought that it was going to be, they're making it look like it was going to be an easy battle. They even take the women along. Masni Satana taught in a brisa, Oirech Machaneu Arba Meis Parsi, that the length of the camp of Sancherav was 400 parsais. Reichav Tzavar Susav, Arbaim Parsi. Just the width of the necks of the horses would have been, if you'd line up the horses, that itself would have been 40 parsais. Sach Machaneo Masayim Beshishim Riboy Alafim Chasrchad. The whole calculation is 260, 10,000. Now, 260, 10,000 would be 2,600,000. I looked in the art scroll because it says Alafim after the word Riboy. If it's 2 million, or if it's 2,000 million, which would mean 2 billion, they contradict themselves. First they say 2 billion, and then later on they say 2 million. So the problem is the word Elef is after the word Riboy, and usually the way it's working here is that the smaller numbers are coming first. The Riboy Alafim may mean 10,000 or may mean 10,000,000. Okay. What do you have in your print? Maybe they corrected it in the print. Does it say 2 billion or 2 million? 2 billion. So far, you'll see they're going to contradict themselves. Baya has a question. It says missing one. It says this is 2 billion. It is 2,600,000,000. Missing one, -1. Okay, -1, like one baya chasechad riba. You mean 1/10,000? A chasechad alpha or 1/1,000? A chaser meya or 100? A chasechad or just missing one? What do you mean missing one? One what? Where it says teku? It's a good question. Don't have an answer to that. Okay, Tana was taught in a brisa. Rishonim avru b'shechi. The first soldiers, when they crossed, they came by swimming. They swam across the river. Shnemar v'chilaf b'Yehuda shataf v'chalaf b'Yehuda shataf avar. They passed over by swimming. Emtzayim avar b'kaima. Apparently, when they swam by, each person that went in the water took out some of the water. The next people were able to walk, and they didn't have to swim because the water has decreased. They could walk standing up. Shnemar ad savar yagia, it reaches to the neck. Achreinim helo af barglaim. When they went through, they took out so much water that the next people, those were already dirt coming up with their feet. They couldn't even find any water to drink left. That's how many people there were that they emptied out the river just from the dirty, from their clothes getting wet. Each person went in, took out a little bit of water. They needed to bring water from another place. I dug and I was able to drink water. You might ask the question. You told me that there's 180,000, 185,000. You also told me that there's 2 billion or 2 million. You'll see in a second. So which one is it? The angel of Hashem went out. And it struck in the camp. In the Syrian camp. 185,000. They got up in the morning when they were all dead. Rabavo says, hello, Rashi guys is saying this is just the generals. They had 185,000 generals. In those 185,000 generals, they had 2,600,000,000. Amar Ravashi, Bekanami, prove it to you. In the pasuk it says, "In Mishman of Razin, in the fat ones will come leanness. Bishmenim ispahu, and the fat ones that were there, which means these must have been the generals." Ravina says, "Dekanami, I'll also prove it to you." Hashem Malach, Hashem sent an angel, and he smote, he struck every strong person that is a nagid or a nasar. A nagid or a nasar is like a general or a minister. Those he struck the important people, which means there are 185,000 of the generals. Came to the house of his God, and from his own offspring, they'll kill him with the sword. But whatever the case is, we see from here that it was the generals that were 185,000 that were struck by the angel. Okay. Mahikam. Well, how did the angel strike these 185,000? He hit him with his hand. Jewish people saw by the sea the great hand. What does it mean, the great hand? Why is it the? So it says Hayad Shasili Parmis and It's the same one. Why does it use the definite article? The, because it's the same one that in the future would strike Sanhedrin. Rabbi Shimon Betzbehikam. He hit him with his finger, not his hand. It is the sorcerers told Pare, it is the finger of God. What do you mean? It is, but he's referring to it as something that you know about already. Yeah, especially Sidlim Parmis and yeah, that's the one that's going to be used by Sanhedrin. Rabbi Lezer b'nai shel Rabbi Seglili, Aimer Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Seglili's son, he says, Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Gabriel, Magalcha Netusha, sharpen your magal, like round side sickle. I have it always sharpened. It's been sharpened since the 6 days of creation. I always keep it sharp. Because of swords, they shook or moved. That time when the 185,000 soldiers were there, that was a time when the fruits were ripening. Hashem says to Gabriel, when you're going down to make sure that the fruits ripen, to ripen the fruits. I guess the angels do these different jobs. So take care of them, of the soldiers. As you're passing by, he took them, he'll take you, eschem. Because in the morning he passes, by day and by night. And it will be just harder those that understand. Amrav Papa, this is what people say. Papa says this is what people say. As you're passing by, you should pass by the enemy just to something like harass him, something like that. So what's happening here is that Gabriel is not going with the directly just to get the Sanhedrin soldiers. Just he was doing other things while he's at it, he killed them too. That's what they make it look like.
Can I make a comment? Because we can take this like shot. It's a story that it's kind of weird because you're bringing from the past proofs to what's happening now and the future. This and that. It's like that's kind of weird, but I think when we think of it in a different context, like Hashem is above time, and everything is part of his master plan. So everything he did in Egypt, including his words, which is part of Hashem's thought, was all part of the plan of that what he do in the future. Because otherwise we're reading and we're kind of saying, oh, I heard this word before. Oh, it should apply here now. I think there's a deeper meaning.
Right. Very good. Very good. Yeshayimrim. Some say, with his nostrils he blew on them and they died. Nemar, as it says, Gam nashaf them. Vaysh was saying about Gabriel blew on them, or it says Hashem. What does it say?
It's Hashem because
it's Hashem.
Capital H.
Okay. He blew on them and they died. Rabbi Yirmiyah Barabba Makapayim Sipiklam Ameso. He clapped his hands and they died. I struck one hand against the other, and my anger was pacified. Was settled. He opened their ears. They heard the song of the angels. And they died. From your being lifted up, in your exaltations, the nations were scattered. How many were left over? We said that you woke up and they were dead. How did they wake up? It must have been that there were others that were there that saw everyone else dead. Some woke up and they saw everyone else dead. How many were left over? Rav says Asara, there were 10 left over. Shenemar v'shar eitz yaru mispar yu b'nar yichtevim. What's left over, the trees of his forest, was just a few, and a lad could write them down. What could a lad write? Says Asari could write 10, because they didn't use Arabic numerals back then. The Hebrew letters was the number. That's why Gematria is significant, because there are no numbers in Hebrew. Numbers are letters. So, what's the number 10? The Yud, little dot. That's what you could write. Shmuel Amar, Tisha was 9. Shnemar is a source for this. He says, "V'nishar by Eilis, be left over fruits. Knekiv zaya shnayim v'shleisha garger and breish amer. Someone that shakes the olive tree. That's how they harvest them. They bang it. So 2, 3 will be left on the top of the branches. There'll be 4 or 5 on the lower branches. So how does that get to 9? Because it says 4 or 5. 4 and 5 is going to be 9. Rabbi Shimon Levi Amar Arba said no. You missed out the 2 and 3. So 2, 3 plus 4 and 5 is going to be 14. To add up the whole pasuk, 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is going to be 14. Bechanan Amar Chamisha. Bechanan says there were 5 left over. Who were the 5? Sanhedrin himself, Shnei Banav, his 2 sons, Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzradan. Nebuchadnezzar, who later became the king. Nebuzradan was the general, the chief butcher, it's called later. And Nebuzradan, how do we know Nebuzradan was left over? Gemara, that's just a tradition. And Nebuchadnezzar, Tiksiv, Nebuchadnezzar, because it says Revei Deriva Dami Labar Elakin. It says that when he saw Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah that were walking, he said that he saw 4 people there, and the 4th one looked like an angel. How does he know what an angel looks like? How does he know what an angel looks like? It must be that he saw the angel before when he came to kill all the 185,000. Now he sees the angel that walking around in the furnace. Sanhedrin v'shnei banav d'ksiv. What does it mean? Sanhedrin and his 2 sons. What's the source for that? It says he was bowing down in the house of Nasrach, his god. And his 2 sons, Adar Melech and Sharetzer, they killed him with the sword. Amar Bavo says, not for the following pasuk, it would be impossible to talk like this. T'ksiv, Hashem betar aspira, b'evri nar b'melech ashras reis v'shar raglayim gam zakan tisafa. Says on that day, Hashem will shave with a borrowed shaver, a rented shaver, at the across the river, king of Asher, his head, the hair on his legs, and also his beard will be swept away. Hashem appears, this is what it says. If the pasuk didn't say this, then we won't be able to talk like this. Hashem appears like an old man. Amar Le, Hashem says, how are you going to answer to all those kings that you took their sons, their princes, to go wage this battle, and now they're all dead? What are you going to tell them? How are you going to answer to these people? Amar Lehu, he says back, I'm frightened. I don't know what to do. That's what I've been afraid of. Ahu Gavra is referring to himself. Amar Le, so Sanhedrin asks the old man, which is Hashem, what should I do? Amar Le, so Hashem says, Zil v'shani nafshach. You have to change your appearance so that they don't recognize you. It says, B'mayashani, what do I do to change my appearance? You didn't have plastic surgery. Amar Le, Zil Isolay Mispera is Gazech Ana. Bring me a scissors and I'll give you a shave. I'll cut your hair. You must have had long hair. You cut off the hair. You can't recognize it. Me'echi Aisi, where should I bring a scissors? Amar Yula base of Aisi, go into the house. So you'll bring a pair of scissors. He goes in and he finds it. Now, there were angels there that looked like men. They were grinding date pits. Anyone here have a scissors? You have a shaver? First, get to work. We're grinding. If you grind a little bit, we'll give you a scissors. Tachan chad griva. The Kashai said he's grinding these date pits. I don't know what they do with date pits, but Yavalim Spartan. Then they gave him a scissors. So when he came, it had already gotten dark. So Hashem tells him, go bring a fire so I can give you a haircut. Also, he goes and gets the fire. As he's blowing on the fire, his beard caught on fire. Then he ended up shaving off his head and also his beard. Sounded like the beard wasn't part of the shave, but because it got caught on fire, so Amru that's why it doesn't say that the beard was shaved, it says the beard was swept away. Okay. Amr of Papa says, this is what people say, Gerirte Larma. If you singe in fire an Aramean, Shaperle, and he's okay, he's happy with it. Italy Nur Bedikne, you can already light his beard on fire. And you'll never be satisfied with all the jokes you can make about him. Right. Azil Ashkach Dapa Netevusa Denayach. He went and he found a board from Noach's Teva. Omar, he says, Hainu al-Karaba the Shizveil Noach mitufna. This is the great God that saved Noach from the flood. Thinking the board is the God that saved him. Omar, Yazalu Gavra Matzach Mekarvelu Chain B'nai Kamach. If this first person, referring to himself, is successful in the battle, then I'll bring my 2 sons as sacrifices to this God. Well, Shamu B'nai, the sons hear this, V'katlu, said, we're not going up to the altar. They killed him. So, Hainu D'Ksiv, V'yameshtachre Beis Nasrach. Now, the interesting thing is that Nasrach was the name of his God, but it also can mean a plank. Beis Nasrach Elakav, he was bowing down in his church. Beis Nasrach, and Badar Melech v'Sharet Zerbana v'Kol B'Cherev, his children come in and kill him.
What was the other story we learned a few weeks ago of somebody who bowed down? The woman killed him while he was bowing down. She chopped off his head. We had this in the Gemara. Anybody remember that? You guys look at me like it wasn't a TV episode. It was in the Gemara. Something where somebody, as he went down of his chalitza or something like that, she.
The one that got on similar to that was, I think you mentioned somebody that had like the sword in their thing, and then when the other person was bent over to keep it.
When Avner, talking about Avner, when Yoav killed him, he pulled him onto his sword.
No, we learned something. Bless his mind. Almost sure we learned somewhere. A man bowed down. I thought it was in front of a woman. That's why.
Maybe it was like Sisra, Yael.
But I'm just saying something's coming to me. Need nothing. Naftali.
Okay. So, Vayichalak Aleim Laila, Uva Avada Vayakim. This is by the battle with Avram is going to fight against the 4 kings, right? To rescue light. Vayichalak Aleim Laila, I think literally means that they prepared for battle at night. Yeah. Now, Amar Rabbi Yechanan, Isim Malach is Damle Lavram Laila Shmai. Vayichalak Aleim Laila means that Laila was fighting for them. Laila is the name of an angel. Laila Amar Hayragever. The night says, man conceived. It's an Eve. That what happened with him was it was an act of the night, which means there was something going on with the stars. Shnemar min hashamayim nilchamu kichavim im siloisam nilchamu im sisra. From the heavens, the stars fought from their paths, and they fought with Sisra. Amar Reish Lakish says, Tava de nafcha midbar nafcha. Okay, we have 2 statements here. of a statement of Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says that the angel's name was Lila. Now the statement of Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha that says that it was the stars that were fighting. So Rish Lakish says Nafcha, Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha, his statement is better than Bar Nafcha, than Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan, his name was Rabbi Yochanan Bar Nafcha. Yeah, not Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan Bar Nafcha is the Amira. Okay, Nafcha means a blacksmith. But Yerdei Fadan, there's another shot over here. It means beautiful. Sarah. What did Sarah do? She killed Usher ben Dan, an enemy of King David, by decapitating. $95A is a story about Sarah Bas Asher, the granddaughter of the Quentin. She is credited. $95A is right here.
Just a page ago. I know. It's in my memory.
You're making a mistake. Is it 85 minutes? $75 minutes?
Whatever it is, it's a story.
Maybe it's 105.
105, yeah. Okay.
105.
I think that they weren't expecting anyone to look it up. Okay. Is it from AI? That's it. You got that?
For the first time they gave me the answer about
See,
and then I said, wasn't there another place in the Talmud?
see, sometimes AI will give you, there's like a little paperclip at the end of the statement. You click on that paperclip, and then it tells you who they're referencing. Do you have that?
Which I think was a free AI.
Yeah, okay, where are we holding over here? Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Okay, so done. Chased him until dawn. This is talking about they chased after the four kings. When Avram Avinu came to the area of Dan, which is in the north, he got weak. Why? Because he saw that in the future his grandchildren were going to serve an idol in Dan. Talking about Yeravim ben Nevat that placed two idols. What happened?
95A. Sends me a picture. 95A.
Okay.
It's your way of that.
So there was an idol that was set up in Dan. This is Yeravim not wanting the people to go to the Beis Hamikdash. He provides for them places of worship, and two actually golden calves is set up. And also this wicked one was only strengthened when he reached Dan. Who's the Isir Rasha? Nebuchadnezzar. Shenemar midan nishbat nechras susav. From Dan it was heard the snorting of his horses. Amar Rab Zera says, Afkav the Shalach, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira min Etzivin, Yeshua ben Levi maybe. Even though Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira sent a message from Netzivin, that's where he was, and maybe on the side it says the Beersheba, his Gersa was Rabbi Yehuda ben Levi. Hizaru bezakin sheshakach talmudah. Be careful. There's a sage that has forgotten his learning. That he's still to give him respect. Hizaru bevridin Rabbi Yehuda, and also you should be careful when you shecht the bird. Shecht also not just the two pipes. Actually, you only have to do one of them by a bird. but make sure to also shech the veins that are on the side. You should also be careful with people of the earth, that's with their children, because from them the Torah is going to come out. Now, usually Amaretz is referring to Jewish people that are ignoramuses. Here, Rashi says it's referring to Sancherev. His children were Ashmai and Naphtalian, his grandchildren. They converted and they taught Torah, and also Haman, his grandchildren taught Torah in Bnei Brak. Now it says now, but nevertheless, you have to let them know. Now, this is a little bit unclear what you have to let them know. You have to let them know the following, which may mean that they shouldn't become haughty, or it may mean that even though they came from such a low place, that their parents were ignoramuses or whatever, but nevertheless they must have had some merit that allowed for them to come out, some small mitzvah. Okay, Tzaddik ata Hashem, Hashem, you are righteous. Ki orav elecha. When I contend with you, when I fight with you, you're correct. Ach mishpat madaber eskabat. I need to talk to you truth. Madua derech shursham tzlacha. Why is the way of the wicked always successful? Shalu kol beged. How come the people that are conniving are always so secure? Nitatim gam sharshu. They plant and it takes root. Yelchu gam masu peri. They go and it even makes fruit. How come everything that they do is successful? Maya hadales. What does Hashem respond? Yes, raglayim ratzisa ve'yelucha ve'ich tiskara as asusim. If you run against and you get tired out, how are you going to compete with horses? If in a peaceful land you're secure, what are you going to do with the strength of the Jordan, of the river? Gemara explains this pasuk. It says, "Mashal, let's give a parable. Let's say there's a person that says, he says, I could outrun horses for 3 parsais. What's a parsa? 4,000? 4 mil? And each mil is 2,000. Each mil is 2,000, so it's 4 times 2. And now it's 3 parsais, so it's going to be 4 mil times 3. It's going to be 12 mil. And each mil is 4, so it's 12 times 4, it's 48 mil, right? It's a big journey. Let's say a person can walk 10 mil how does it say? 10 mil a day? Is that what it says? Mil is 18 minutes. A person can walk 40 mil a day, it says. 40 mil a day. This is 48 mil. He says, I can outrun.
Not in someone else's shoes.
I can outrun horses for 3 parsais. And not only that, but he can even do it in the swamp. You see, someone is running. So, in this daman ragli achad. He says, oh, someone's running. He runs in front of him and he beats him. He runs 3 mil, but it's dry land vanilla, but he's all tired out. If that's what happens in front of a person, if you try to outrun horses, for sure you're going to get tired. If you only ran for 3 mil, right, which is 1/4, if you 3 mil tied you out for 3 parsais, for sure you're going to be exhausted. If it was in dry land, for sure you're going to be exhausted if it's in the swamp. You also, if you're surprised about the reward that's given to someone that took 4 steps, the wicked person that took 4 steps. Well, you're going to see what that means. Just for my honor, you're surprised. And I'm going to give the reward to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. They ran in front of me like horses. For sure, they're going to get a big reward. And the Ksiv, this is what it says, Lenavim, regarding the prophets, which is referring to Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Nishbar libi b'kirbi, my heart is broken inside me. Rachfu kalatz meisai, all my bones shake. Yisiki shikar, I'm like a drunken man. Gever over Yayan, like a man that the wine has passed over him. Because of Hashem, because of His holy words.
Excuse me, when we say that of us ran before like horses, is that a reference to, we always say that of us were what do you call it, chariots of God?
Maybe.
I think it will make more sense.
Maybe.
Just,
The comment here says that they served them
Zealously. Okay.
They'll-
He's saying that in Chassidus it says the chariot doesn't have a will of its own. It only does whatever the rider takes it.
more modern than the car. Unless you get a smart car. Probably has its own will.
These cars, they tell you where to go. They start beeping at you if you go out of lane. They yell at you. Okay. What happens here? You're going to be surprised about the reward that's given to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. It will be so astonishing. Ani Dalip Psiyasmai, what are you talking about when you said that Nebuchadnezzar took 4 steps? Ksiv says, Beisahi, at that time, Shalach Meredach Baladan Ben Baladan Melech Bavel Svarim. A king by the name of Meredach Baladan. He's the son of Baladan. He was the king of Bavel, and he sent a scroll, means a letter. And why did he send a letter? He said because Chizkiah was sick, and then Chizkiah recovered. So he was on his deathbed. Remember, the prophet came to him, Mar Brachas. The prophet came to him and says, "You're going to die. You should share your will and everything." He says, "No, I have a tradition that my grandfather David, even if the sword is on your neck, you never give up." He prayed and he got another 15 years. So why was he supposed to die? Because he didn't have children. So he said, because I saw the children are not going to be good. He says, that's none of your business. You have to do what you're supposed to do. So he actually took the prophet's daughter, Yeshaya Navi's daughter. He married Yeshaya Navi's daughter. And he had the son, Menashe. Menashe ended up killing his grandfather, Yeshaya, killing the prophet. But nevertheless, Chizkiah had another 15 years, and that was okay. Whatever the case is,
What's his name?
Chizkiyahu. Yeah, in the prophets, it goes back and forth. If the ending is Yirmiyahu or Yirmiyah.
Because Chizkiah will be Chazak Yudei, strong young man. Just the word Yudei.
When I was a kid, there was a shul in Rhode Island, Narragansett, Rhode Island, that would go back and forth between Orthodox and Reform, depending on whatever the crowd. There was once a Reform rabbi that was passing by this place. He tells me, I was a little kid. He says, "How do you say Yirmiyahu in English?" I said, "Jeremy." So he chuckled. He said, "Jeremiah, not Jeremy," because I knew the name, the nickname was. I remember laughing at me that I gave the nickname. Okay, so okay, where are we holding? It says, what are these 4 steps? Okay, there was a king, Meredach Baladan, that says Mishum Kicholach Chizkiyahu, because Chizkiyahu got sick by Yechazik and he gets better. Shadli Svarma Mincha, he sends him a letter and he sends him presents. It says I don't know if that's supposed to be there. That's in parentheses. Yes, literally says Maifas Hashayabarts. He's coming to seek the wonder that was in the land. Rabbi Yechanan says, "Aisiyem shemeis payachaz shtei shayisaya." Achaz was Chizkiyahu's father. He was very wicked, and Achaz, he when he died, the day was only 2 hours long. Instead of being 12 hours, it was only 2 hours. It got dark very quickly. And the reason was they shouldn't make a big deal about his funeral. Just like quickly bury him and run. It's getting dark. When Chizkiyo got sick and then he got better, Hashem returns the 10 hours. We were missing 10 hours from the schedule. So returns the 10 hours. So that day was, instead of 12 hours, was 22 hours. Right? But it didn't mess up the night because the night was its own 12 hours. Okay. I'll return the shadow of the sundial that went down by Achaz. I'll turn it back 10 levels. The sun goes back the 10 levels that it went down when the clock changed, right? When they did that. Okay, Amalei, my high. He asked this Meredach Baladan asks, what's going on? Amalei, Chizkiyo Cholosh V'Ispatach. Oh, Chizkiyo got sick, he got better. America Gabra Ki Hai V'Leibinal Shtili Shalma. Is there such a person and I don't tell him hello? Kosvale, he writes to him, Shalom Malka Chizkiyo, peace unto you, King Chizkiyo, Shalom Lakarti Yerushalayim, peace unto you, city of Yerushalayim. Shalom Lalakar peace to the great God. Nebuchadnezzar Safri the Baladnam. Nebuchadnezzar was the scribe. But at that time he wasn't around. Kiyasa, when he came, Amalu, he says to the other scribes, what did you? How did you write the letter? What did you say? Amalei, we wrote it like this. Amalu, Krisale, read it to me. Alakar Rabba. No. Amalu.
Krisale Alakar Rabba.
Karisale, what is Karisale? He's reading it to them. He says, this is what you should have done. What you should have done, what you should have written to him is, you should have said it the opposite order. Alakar Rabba, the great God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you called him. You called him. Karisale Alakar Rabba, you called him the great God. Vikasrisale Labasayf, and then you write him at the end. Amar, he said, this is how you should write it. Shalom Lalkarabba. First, you start off with the great God. Shalom Lakarti Yerushalayim. Peace unto Yerushalayim. Shalom Lamakachizkiah. Peace unto you, Chizkiah. The order was not correct. Shouldn't start with peace unto Chizkiah and then end up with the great God. Start with the great God. Amri Lay, they said to him, to Nebuchadnezzar, Kraina Digarti, Lehavi Pravanka. The one that reads the letter, you should be the one to carry it out. No, it's your idea, go do it. So the problem is the messenger already left. Rat Basra, he runs after the messenger. When he took 4 steps, also Gabriel came and stopped. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Is Mali ba Gabriel, Mali loy ba Gabriel v'midei." Gabriel didn't come and stop him. Then the effort that he put in would not allow for the Jewish people to survive. You know, he destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, but he didn't destroy the people. If he would have had that merit of continuing to go, then he would have been able to destroy the Jewish people. Now the Gemara doesn't say that; it says in the opposite. He would have destroyed the enemies of the Jews. My Baladan ben Baladan. Why is it called Meredach Baladan ben Baladan? Amri, they said Baladan Malkavi. Really, his name was Baladan was the king. Vishtani ape bavi ki the kalba. His face changed, and it looked like a dog. Now, does it say over there any note on how that happened? How did that come about? Nothing. Avi Yosef Brei al Machusa. So his son was sat on his throne. Ki Avi Kasev, when he would write, Avi Kasev Shmei v'Shmei Davu, he would write his name and his father's name. Baladan Malka. So in other words, his name was Meredach ben Baladan, but he would write in the name of his father. He would write Baladan ben Baladan. Meredach Baladan ben Baladan. He'd put his father's name into his own name. I think in general, the royal names do that. They start adding names and then put one name and then another name.
When you have a court, the diamond they sign, it's in the top diamond.
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. The Kayan, if he's a Kayan, he'll sign first. I know the Ksiv, this is what it's the meaning of the verse. Ben Yechabadav Eved Adeno. The son honors his father, and the slave honors his master. Ben Yechabadav Hadamran. Where do we see that a son honors his father? This is Meraidach Baladan. Eved Adeno. What does it mean the slave honors his master? The Ksiv. It's in the 5th month, the 10th of the month. What's the 5th month? Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, of the month of Av, the 10th of Av, the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar. He stands in front of the king of Bavel in Yerushalayim. The Yisref is Beis Hashem is Beis Melech. So it must be Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av, not Elul, Av, 10th of Av, right? Tisha B'Av, the day after. That's when he burns the house of Hashem he's standing in front of the king of Bavel, and he's burning the house of Hashem, the space of Melech, and also the palace. Gemara says, 1 second, he's standing in front of Nebuchadnezzar. Misalek Nebuchadnezzar Yerushalayim. Did Nebuchadnezzar actually make it to Yerushalayim? He didn't go to Yerushalayim. We have a pasuk that says, that the Melech Bavel went to Rivla. This is Antioch. The Gemara tells us in Gittin that Antioch was not part of Eretz Yisrael. So the king makes it to Antioch, and then he sends his general to continue, which was the general was Nebuzradan. What does it mean that the king of Bavel was there? That's because he had an engraved image of Nebuchadnezzar on his chariot. Nebuzradan's chariot, it had this image there. He had such fear of Nebuchadnezzar that it was as if Nebuchadnezzar was standing in front. Amar Rava says, "Toin plasmic nice and naga the puzzle the shalit parsley." He had 300 mules that were carrying axes of iron that are able to go through iron. What do they call the strengthened steel? What do they call it? No, when they harden it, make it like for the locks. You know what I'm talking about? They harden the locks. Anyway, this is able to go through iron. So Shadalei Nebuchadnezzar Lebenuzradan. I'm sorry. All of these Shadalei Nebuchadnezzar Lebenuzradan. All of these Nebuchadnezzar sent to Nebuzradan in order for him to be able to break through the walls of Yerushalayim. But Kulu Balesinu Chadasha, all of them used them all up on one gate. That means that they all they got smushed trying to knock through the first gate. Chadash Yerushalayim, one gate of Yerushalayim. The Shenemar, it says in the pasuk, the Sucha Yachad, it's gates together. The Chashil Chilapas Yalayman are pounded with hatchets and hammers. In other words, he wasn't able to use he needed to take other things because he wasn't able to use these axes. Boiler Mahadar, he says, okay, that's it. I'm going back. It was a nice try, but I can't get in. He says, I'm afraid if I keep persisting over here, what's happened to Sanhedrin? He also died at the gates of Yerushalayim. Not he died. His army died at the gates of Yerushalayim. I don't want to go through the same thing. Nafakalav Amar, a voice comes out from heaven and says, Shavar bar Shavar, jumper, the son of a jumper. That's not the outfit. They have a leper. Rashi has two. See if there's a note over there that there's another shot. Or leper, it could be. Leaping, right?
Oh, but mean leaping, not a leper.
Leaping, leaper, a leaper. He's jumping. The leaper. Nevuzradan Shavar. Nevuzradan the leaper. The Matazimna the Mikdash Charev. The time of the Beis Hamikdash to be destroyed has arrived. Beichala Mikli, and the temples should be burnt. The time has arrived. Pashlechad Narga. Well, he had one axe that was left over. Asamachai Bekupa. He bangs it of Itbach with the kupa. He bangs it at the end. Kupa means with the handle, the blunt end. And it opened up. Shnemar Yivada Kamevi Lamaila Besfach Eitz Kardumes. It's known as he brings above Kamevi Lamaila Besfach Eitz. He brings to cut the trees. Svach is like a bushes of trees, Kardumes with hatchets. Abikatul Vazal Adamat Lechali is killing until he reaches the temple. Adak Beinuri lights it on fire. Gave Chale, the temple rises up. Darcha by Minshemaya, but it gets pushed back down from heaven. Those wants to escape. Shnemar Gas, which is a wine press. Darach Hashem leBasulas Bas Yehuda. Hashem presses down to the virgin of the daughter of Yehuda. Kazicha Daite becomes very haughty. This is Nebuzradan. Nafak Baskal of Amra, the voice comes out and says, Amakatila Katlas, you killed a dead nation. Echala Kalya Kalas, you burnt a burnt building. Kimcha Tchinas Tchinas, you already ground flour. So you didn't do it, you didn't accomplish anything. What you did was already over. Take a mill and grind flour. You know, what do you put in a toaster? Right? Bread. Anyway, he says toast. It's already ground. Gali, Simasech, reveal your hair, or like let down your hair. Chashvi Shoivel, other parts of the hair, I think. Gali Shoik Avinaris, lift up your clothing and go over the river. Chitim Leinemar Alakema doesn't say that he ground flour, it doesn't say they ground wheat, it says he ground flour. Chazi Dama de Zechariah Davikaratach, he sees the blood of Zechariah that's boiling. Amalu, he says to the people, whoever was alive, my hi, what's going on? Amalei Dam Zvachimu Dishtapacho, this is some blood from the sacrifices. Amalu, I see Vinsui Madami. Let's go check and see if it compares to the animal blood.
DNA test.
Yeah, well, this is more. They're gonna look and see it. He shechts and it doesn't compare. Amalu Galilee Vilai Circle the parsley. You better tell me, if not, I'm gonna comb your flesh with iron combs. Amalei Haikayin V'Naviu the Invilahu Li Yisrael B'Chabana D'Yishlayim V'Katlu. This is a Kayin and a Navi that prophesied about the destruction of Yerushalayim, and the people killed him. Amalahu, he said to them, I'm gonna appease him because he sees the blood still boiling, has to calm him down. I see Rabbanan, he brings the sages, he kills them. The blood doesn't stop. I see Dardaki the Beirav, he brings the children of the yeshiva. It doesn't stop. I see Perchikun, he brings the young Kainim, nothing stopping the blood. Adi Katalave Tishin Rabbaim Rivi killed 40 Tishin 94,000 no 94 10,000 940,000 Vlainach, and the blood didn't stop. Karav Lagabe comes to it. Zechariah Tevim Shem Yivadatem Nichalach Taktil Laklin Lakulu says Zechariah I killed the best are already lost. You want me to kill everyone? Miyad Nach, it comes down. Here Tshuva Bedaite, he decides that I've been a bad person. Amar, he says, what about these people? They only killed one person, Kach, and look at what the blood was doing. What's going to be with me? He says, Arek, he ran away. Shadar Pertisa, he wrote a will, to his family, with Gayer, and he converted. This is Nebuzradan. Yeah? Okay, let's leave it over here.
But it wasn't 94,000. It says 940,000.
Yeah, 940,000, right? Yeah, 10,000, 940,000.
The whole thing is pretty crazy, because earlier when it says, he started killing everybody and then said, you didn't do anything, or these people are already dead, these people are already, like, what did you accomplish already? Right? When it first started. But then what about the people that he started killing after that? Like, it doesn't say anything about, were those people already destined for, all these people?
So in just reading this, I would have thought that maybe what it means is that he took pride in not in killing the people, because it says oh no, you're right. It says Amakatilas Katal. He took pride also in the people. because the voice tells him that the people were already dead. Yeah, they have to tell him that. Yeah, I thought maybe it was just the building of the burning, the building and all of that, but no, you're right. Maybe it's the soldiers.
I don't know.
He
Pretty
took
crazy.
pride, killed the army. Now he's just killing other people that are just
That's what
civilians.
I'm saying. But right, so they it doesn't in the commentary. I don't see where they were also already destined, because it says in Rashi, I think it says their fate was already decreed by Hashem. So he had no
Right.
reason to be proud. What are you like so arrogant about? But now, what
Right.
about the rest of these people that are? I don't know. Anyway, okay.
Maybe
That's
because
great.
these were just civilians.
Where's the
Okay.
professor?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay. Okay. Have a good day. Hatzlacha.